Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make a woodcut print in the style of Hokusai or Hiroshige, so basically in the style of Japanese printmakers. So that is a piece by Hiroshige. I really like the blossom on this. I really like the fade from pink to white and then the fade from green into the pink towards the bottom. Really like how they do that in Japanese prints. And I also really enjoy these prints by Hokusai. They're of birds, and basically the design came from that. So you've seen how I made the design earlier, and now I'm going to show you the final pieces of the woodcut. So I did two versions, one using this more pink kind of colour, like a warm pink with a little bit of like an orangey tone to it, and the other one was this orange version here, which I actually prefer. So I'll show you what the top layer of the print looks like. So that's the top layer. Whoops, upside down. You can see this is just where I printed black. So if you can see on the finished print, that's literally the top layer. Now the way that I did it was through cutting it in layers. The only difficulty with that is obviously you can't go back and produce the print again. So normally what they would do in Japanese prints is have several different blocks for each layer. What I did was use the same block, cut one bit, cut another bit and another bit. So I'm going to show you each step of the process, and I'd like you to have a go at making your own. If you haven't done lino printing before, you're going to do it with lino, and then maybe later, if you can do that and you can do it well, we'll get on to doing woodcut. Okay.
The first thing that I'm doing is tracing the image onto tracing paper. It's important that you trace onto tracing paper rather than carbon paper. This way it's easier to reverse the image. Now that I've transferred the image onto the wood block, I've also gone over it with a Sharpie. I'm just going to cut away, firstly, just the bits that I want to be white. These are the bits where there's going to be no ink at all on the picture and you're not going to get any colour at all. For the first layer of the print, it's important that I use registration pins at the top of a board so that the print will be lined up every time that I come to print. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So there's my board, there's my pins, and I'm just printing. I'm now going to rub over the back of the image with a burnishing tool and later a wooden spoon so that the image transfers. Now I'm going to make the next layer. So the next colour I'm going to print is going to be the red for the blossom on the flowers. Whenever you're making prints, you have to layer up the colours. So here I'm cutting away all of the background and all of the areas that I want to leave orange. Now I'm inking my print up in red ink And in a minute I'm going to get that board out again and I'm going to pop the wood block in the same space that it was last time. So I need to make sure that I'm hooking those registration pins onto the top, and then I will be able to line the print up perfectly. So the next task is to cut away the red on the wood block because I'm going to try a different colour now. So I'm cutting away the bits in between the flower. Okay, so all the bits where the red is have been cut away, and I'm now going to try inking up the next layer using blue. So I'm mixing together some white and some blue to make a nice light blue. I'm going to ink up the print using my roller. And in a minute I'm going to go and get that board where I have 2 pins at the top, and I'm going to hook the piece of paper on so that the block is once again in exactly the same place as it was last time. So I've skipped ahead a little bit here, and what I've done is I've cut away the blue that I want to keep, which is on the top of the bird. So I don't know if you can tell, but I've cut the rest of the bird out and there's only some bits around its wings left. So I'm inking up this layer green, and apologies for the picture quality, but it was getting dark. All this is sped up. Actually, this process was a really long process. Probably took me around about 7 hours to do the whole thing. So now I'm getting that board again where the tabs are hooked to the pins at the top. I'm hooking it on, making sure that the print is in the same place every time. So I've got little markers drawn out so as I know it's in the same place every time. Again, I'm rubbing on the back of the print. Try and transfer the print onto the paper. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is cut away everything except for where I want black lines. So this is the bit where it's just the outline that's left. So now what I do is I get that last bit of the block, put it in the same spot. So I've got little lines drawn out so as I never am in danger of printing the print wonky or in the wrong place so as it doesn't quite line up. And I've inked that up black, and now I'm transferring the print across onto the paper, and in a minute you'll see the final piece. And there we go, there's the final piece.